Now, the first thing I would like to ask you is the question of whether or not you've responded. When were these documents served? Were they served, the statement from Gladys Aminga, was it part of the documents you were served with at the point of your appearance at the county assembly?
No, Madam Speaker.
And they were served when this motion was presented to the Senate, isn't it?
Yes, Madam Speaker.
And have you had an opportunity, an occasion where you could have filed a response to that statement?
There has not been any opportunity, Madam Speaker.
Okay. Now, I would like us to discuss the contents of that statement. My colleague repeatedly asked you whether it is true that you forced Gladys Aminga to give a tender. And the first thing I would like you to confirm, do you know this person mentioned in this statement? This Osiemo Bernard Mogengo, do you know him?
I do not know him, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker.
He's referred to as a nephew of your wife. Do you know that relationship? Are you aware of that relationship?
Madam Speaker, if he's a relative of my wife has not brought him to me for introduction, so I do not know.
Now, you've been asked also whether you know some two companies associated with that Osiemo Bernard, namely Peace Farm and Mobichem. Do you know the two companies?
No, Madam Speaker.
Now, you went through the statement together with my colleague on what he was referring to. Did you see anywhere where it is said that you forced her to give any tenders to anybody?
No, Madam Speaker.
Now, it is said that the payment was in consideration, the 100,000 was in consideration of having given out tenders. You remember that allegation? Now, you recall the question being put to you that it is alleged that you were sending this money because you had influenced some tenders. You remember that?
Yes, that was the question.
Now, what was the purpose of the 100,000?
Madam Speaker, the 100,000 was part payment towards transport services that I got from one Gladys Aminga for construction materials.
Now, I would like us to read what Gladys says and confirm whether she confirms that the payment was for services rendered.
Gladys says, and I read, he paid me through M-Pesa for the supply of sand and ballast. I have since learned that I made a mistake in giving the LPOs and I have never repeated. That is all I wish to state. That is Gladys Aminga.
And so Gladys Aminga very explicitly explains that the payment, the remittance of 100,000 was a payment for services of transport and supply of sand and ballast, isn't it?
That is true.
And that's what you are paying for yourself?
That's what I was paying for.
Does Aminga, to the best of your knowledge, say anywhere that you personally told her to give tenders to anybody?
Nowhere she said that.
Yeah, okay. Now I'd like us to move on to a different issue. You've been asked whether you are asked to confirm that indeed you had a conversation with Lucy about the employment bid by Dennis Misato. You remember that?
Yes, I remember.
And you said you mentioned it to Lucy.
I did mention it to Lucy, Madam Speaker.
Okay. Now, when When you say, when you were taken then to the affidavit of Lucy, do you agree with the way Lucy has explained about that issue of how you met?
No, I do not agree.
More specifically, did you summon her?
No, Madam Speaker, I have not summoned Lucy for this kind of discussion.
For emphasis, in what circumstances did you meet Lucy at which you mentioned this issue?
I met Lucy in a function we had with the governor in the stadium where our officers are, and I mentioned this position by my friend, Misati.
Okay, then it is said that you are struggling, you do not have funds, you are a pauper, and what do you have to say about that?
Poverty, Madam Speaker, is relative. It depends on who is suffering that. In the eyes of one, it could be I'm a pauper. In my own eyes, I'm an honorable deputy governor of the Kisii County.
Let's talk about more in terms of your circumstances. Are you able to underwrite your liabilities and obligations?
Yes, Madam Speaker.
You are able to meet your obligations?
Yes, Madam Speaker.
And in that sense, you are not struggling, or are you struggling?
I'm not struggling.
Okay. Now, when Mr. Joseph Misati chose to say that you are struggling, was that a communication you had passed on to him? Had you told him that I'm struggling, or how did that come up?
It's not my position. Mr. Misati made a general statement about his understanding of
It was his
those of us,
understanding
yes,
of the
of
issues.
those of us who are politicians.
Okay. Now, questions were asked about whether or not you've involved children in repayment of your debts in the previous relationship with Mr. Joseph Misati. And my question is, on this day, did you know that Mr. Misati was coming with his children?
No, I didn't know.
You didn't know. And did you agree with Mr. Misati how the children would be involved in him refunding the money you had lent him in October, November 2022?
No, Madam Speaker.
Whose decision and judgment was it on how how the money was to get to you?
It was Mr. Misati's.
It was Mr. Misati who chose how he wanted to send you?
Misati Joseph, yes.
Okay. I would like us to look at the Hansard, page 191, where you are asked about whether you slept after sending the money, page 191 of the Hansard.
Where was that?
Now, it is said that after you send the money to Lucy, you slept, isn't it? And that's what you said at the county assembly, isn't it?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Now, I want us to confirm if this is what is stated in the Hansard. On that evening, I had to pay a debt of the transport I had used to ferry some building materials to my home to one Gladys Aminga, who does transport business. So I was due to give her Kenya shillings 100,000. As I did this, I erroneously picked the wrong number and sent 100,000, then slept without knowing the recipient is a different person. Mr. Speaker, sir, the next morning before I took my breakfast, I received a call from Lucy informing me that I had sent 100,000. You can see that?
I can see that.
Now, does that statement say you slept immediately or that you generally slept that night?
I generally slept without noticing that error.
So your point is that at a certain point in that night you slept, but not necessarily immediately after sending the money.
That's the position, Madam Speaker.
And your statement then to the county assembly captured in that Hansard is not in any way inconsistent with the contention that you sent some money 2 hours after you had sent to Lucy.
That is true.
It's
Madam
not
Speaker.
inconsistent?
Yes.
Okay. Lastly, just for emphasis, or rather two questions. Had Mr. Joseph Misati visited you with his boys previously?
Yes, some of his boys, not all of them.
Not, but from time to time he has visited you with his boys.
That is true.
And so this visit, was it unusual in any way?
Was not unusual, Madam Speaker.
Both in terms of him visiting you and coming with his boys?
Yes.
Okay. Did you at any point pressurize Lucy that you needed a job for your friend's son?
No, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, I would like to leave my re-examination there.
That's okay. Is that all for this witness? We'll now proceed on, councils, senators, to raise their interventions or clarifications that members may have. The board is full with over 15 senators who are interested in asking for clarifications. I want to propose that we take 4 on this side and 4 on the other side. So let's begin with Joe Nyoto. Senator Joe Nyoto.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. I just want to seek very short clarifications from the witness. And the first one is from the evidence of Joseph Misati, the friend. Misati went to the DG's home accompanied by his sons for that meeting where they had a separate meeting between him and Joseph Misati with the sons at a distance. The clarification I'm seeking is, why would grown men, the sons, accompany the father to a meeting with a friend to discuss matters that did not relate to the employment of Dennis Misati? That is one. Number two, when the witness sent 100,000 Kenya shillings to the MD of Wasco, and he says in his statement that this was sent erroneously. It was supposed to be sent to another lady who is a CEO within Kisii County government. It took 2 days. Would the witness clarify? Because the usual, everyone sending money through M-Pesa is once you send an amount of money, then you will receive a message from M-Pesa detailing whom you have sent it to. Is the witness truthful when he alleges that he did not discover immediately that he had sent the money to the wrong person? And even if he did, he alleges that he did not have the technical know-how to reverse the transaction. But ideally, Madam Speaker, one would call the person to whom you have sent the money erroneously and request them, especially because he's somebody that is well known to you, request them to send the money back to you, which did not happen until the following day when the MD called the witness herself.
Thank you, Senator Newton. Allow the witness to respond.
Madam Speaker, Mr. Misati Joseph came with his 4 sons, and at my age and his age, we thought, and it's normally the practice, that we leave the children aside and do business of your own. I did not have any special reason to accommodate the children in the discussions we held with Mr. Misati. When Question 2, when I sent money erroneously to Lucy, the MD Wasco, I've already indicated that I slept without noticing the error. The next morning, Lucy called me and told me about this money. I asked her to send back the money, but she told me she was already at the airport trying to fly out to Nairobi from Kisumu. And Madam Speaker, she asked me to reverse, which I've already indicated I didn't have that technology of reversing the money as that's been indicated. Madam Speaker, when she reached Nairobi, I talked to her, and she told me she was entering a crucial meeting she will transact later. On the issue of reversing the money, Madam Speaker, I came to learn when I received these statements in this impeachment that it was that Lucy, having received the 100,000 from me, immediately after spent 5,000, and therefore it did not remain. And I refer the honorable senators to that page where Lucy has received the 100,000, and immediately after has drawn or paid out 5,000, reducing the money from the 100,000. I'm guided that if I tried, even if I would have tried, I'm guided by those who know that with less money than what I would have tried to reverse, the reverse would have not been possible. That's my response, Madam Speaker.
Senator Enoch Wambua.
Madam Speaker, allow me to engage the witness. Very briefly, within 2 minutes, I'm done. His Excellency DG, what is the official title of one Lucy Waito?
Official title
Yes.
is CEO.
CEO.
That's what I know. Some people exchange it with MD.
What is the official title? She has a letter of appointment. What is she? Is she an MD? Is she a CEO?
No,
Is she
that
a
one
CEO?
I cannot take a position on which title
Okay, you
she
can't.
holds.
You can't. So, but you have saved her as what? Chief officer?
I've saved her as CEO.
Chief officer.
Yes.
And you're saying you made a mistake between Lucy and Gladys Amiga.
Yes.
What is the connection in the typing for either Lucy or Guasco, whatever it is, and Gladys and Amigo? Because you have to type for the name to pop up. What is the connection in the keyboard of your phone, because they are all the same? What is the alphabetical ordering of either of those names?
When you look at what we have attached there, Lucy and Gladys are next to each other.
Yeah, but you have to type. You have to type the name for the name to pop up.
I've indicated, Madam Speaker, earlier that I have tried to save staff of the county under an easier way of accessing them, and that's why I have the CEO, my own way of easily accessing the officers of the county.
Madam Speaker, we need your protection because I think from Kisii County, there are very many different ways of doing things. Now, this one has a different way of typing names on the keyboard, which is standard. It's a standard keyboard. When you type GWA, what's the connection between GWA and GLA? There can never be any connection.
I've indicated, Madam Speaker, that the way of CEO would bring all the officers.
I will
Then
rest my
the rest
case,
of the names will follow.
The next
to make
question,
it easier for
Madam
me.
Speaker, so that we save on time.
That should be the
The last question, yes. The last question. You erroneously, as you say, sent money to Lucy, and you don't realize that you have sent money until the following morning, which is questionable. But that morning, you are called by Lucy and she says, what did you send this money to me for? So at least you know now there is 100,000 shillings that you send to Lucy, which is your money.
True.
But you go to the bank and withdraw 130,000 shillings to send to some other people, and yet you have your money that is already with Lucy, which you can access and use for the same purposes. Why was it easier for you? You are saying you're not tech savvy, but you're able to withdraw money from the bank. You're not able to reverse money that you have sent. Are you being selective in your tech savviness?
Madam Speaker, I'm not being selective. If you read my statement correctly, the money I sent to Lucy was in my M-Pesa, and the money I sent that morning, Lucy told me I have sent her money, was still in the same M-Pesa. So I didn't go to the bank to draw any other money. I had some money.
The money is not in M-Pesa now, it is in Lucy's phone. It's not in your M-Pesa anymore. You have sent already.
I had more money in my account that could be enough to send another 100,000. I didn't send 130,000 to Gladys. It's 100,000 to Gladys after I discovered Lucy had taken 100 that she had not refunded or returned.
Madam Speaker, I'm okay.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Gloria Oruoba. In under 1 minute, and senators, if we could reduce our questions to only 2, it will help because there are very many senators who are interested in clarifying.
Thank you, Speaker. I only have 2 questions. Speaker, on the first one, when Joseph Misati was here and he was questioned on his relationship with you on a business level, he said at one point that you had an M-Pesa shop. I just wanted you to clarify, have you at any one point had an M-Pesa shop? And if so, would that then conflict that you do not know how to operate M-Pesa, particularly reversals? Then my second question is that on the assembly bundle, page 283 and 287, it is stated that the deputy governor was buying land at 500K per acre, which was negotiated down to 200K per acre to help the children. But in the sales agreement, it is written that you are to pay 2.8 million by the end of October, which you clarified that you are not able to pay. And then the question is, after that, you actually paid 500,000 to Joseph. So the question is, where did you get the money? Because those two are conflicting. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Madam Speaker.
Give quick,
Madam
short
Speaker.
answers.
Madam Speaker.
Can I guide the witness? If you could give short, quick answers, it will help us to move faster. Don't give long narration.
Madam Speaker, I've never owned an M-Pesa business. What Mr. Misati Joseph averred to in his witness was his own M-Pesa business and not mine. Number 2, the Honorable Senator has referred to a case that I've also seen in this House yesterday about an elder from Magenja Ward who was selling land that he had owned in Transmara, Naroko County. And Madam Speaker, she came to me and asked me if I can buy. When I attempted to follow up the documents, I realized this same land had a lot of encumbrances. There were people on that land. I don't know whether I call them squatters or what. And he wanted me to go and use an auctioneer to remove those people and they buy that land. At that point, I said, I can't buy a case. I'm buying land, it's land, and not issues, fighting with people. And at that point, I said, we cancel this deal, Madam Speaker. That's where the story of land rests.
Senator Agnes Kavindu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mine is a follow-up question on the M-Pesa to Lucy. Madam Speaker, when he was giving his evidence, he said that he did not know how to reverse the money, and he was looking for somebody to reverse the money for him. And I'm wondering if he looked for someone for 2-3 days, and he could not get anyone who could reverse that money, even after Lucy had told him that the money was there, and after he had confirmed. Madam Speaker, this one raises a lot of questions. And number two, he talked of not knowing his best friend's children. And yet when his friend was giving evidence, he said that there is even a time he called him to go and fundraise for the children's school fees. Madam Speaker, I don't understand how I can be called by my best friend to go and fundraise for his son or his daughter, and I cannot be familiar with the same daughter. Thank you.
Witness, DG.
Madam Speaker, I've indicated that Lucy called me on the 29th, on the morning of 29th May. And that is the time there was this conversation on the erroneous sending of money. And she was on transit. I called her later when I asked her to send me back the money, but she was in Nairobi in a meeting. That is on the same day of the 29th of May. She sent me back the money the next day. So the issue of 3 days, Madam Speaker, does not arise. It is the next day. The next question.
The issue of children.
Familiarity of children. Madam Speaker and honorable senators, I'm very good at knowing the faces of people once well exposed to me. When I go to fundraise with my friend, I'm not fundraising with the children, it's the adults whom I fundraise with. We sometimes do these fundraisings, all of us, honorable leaders, honorable senators, with the people in the village, the invited guests, and therefore, we may have our children out there, some in school, some wherever they may be, and I will want to still remain that I cannot identify all the children of all my friends. It is not possible for anyone, and I will be lying if I say that, Madam Speaker.
Senator Charadike.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'll be precise with an eye of a military marksman. One, Mr. Deputy Governor, can you table your evidence? Can you table a phone as part of the evidence now so that we can cross-check those numbers that you're talking about, Wahito and Aminga? Number one. Number two, what is your relationship with other leaders in Kisii County? Number three, who ensures that there is proper budgetary utilization of funds in Kisii County? And finally, how do you feel that the father of Dennis, how do you feel that your brother testified against you? And how do you feel the father testified against the son, Madam Speaker, so that we get the feeling that is happening? And finally, what is your relationship with the governor, Simbarati? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, as I respond, I will request that where I miss some of the questions, the Honorable Senator would remind me. for tabling the phone. I will request by your directions, Madam Speaker, that I'd left my phone with my security out here. If the Sergeant at Arms can get the phone for the view by the honorable senators. That's my request, Madam Speaker.
Sergeant at Arms, you can assist him so he can just open the page where the list of names was downloaded. To answer the rest
I have no
of the
objection,
questions.
Madam Speaker, if they can be doing that. My relationship with the Kisii politicians is the next question. And Madam Speaker, I've been a politician for some time now. And I can confidently say I have very good relationship with my colleagues, politicians in Kisii. And in circumstances where we do not agree, we have sought to solve and make ourselves agree as politicians. I hope I've answered that. I have a very good relationship with my colleague politicians across the board. On the issue of who ensures the budget of the Kisii County is used, Madam Speaker, this, I referred to it earlier, that Madam Speaker, I will say it is the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer of the county to ensure absorption of resources given by the government, the national government. The budget that you give us from this house is used effectively, Madam Speaker. And so that's my affirmation that there is a CEO to ensure we spend our resources. On the issue of Joseph Misati and his son, Dennis Misati, then the situation of my brother and myself. This is very unfortunate, Madam Speaker, that one family will have, family members will have to move out of the family circles and come to solve their family disputes in the Senate. It is unfortunate, and I wanted to say here, Madam Speaker, I felt so much embarrassed that a member of the Parliament in this country will find his way, that's myself, for some reason, find a reason to come here and talk about family issues in the Senate. It is unfortunate, and I regret the situation, Madam Speaker, for both Mr. Joseph Misati and his son, and myself and my brother who was here yesterday evening. On the question of my relationship with my governor, the Honorable, His Excellency, the Honorable Paul Simbarati, I want to make it clear that we have had a strained relationship from the time we came into office on matters that are official. And indeed, I'm convicted that it is from that perspective that I am before this Senate today on a matter of impeachment, because of the official questions and discussions I've tried to hold with the governor, and we do not seem to pull together. One of them, honorable members of the Senate and Madam Speaker, is the question of the budget absorption. where for 2 consecutive years, we have remained number 47 out of 47 in development resource absorption. In the first year, we did 13.9% of the resource absorption. In the next quarter, the first quarter of this year, Madam Speaker, this financial year, we have done 1.7% resource absorption, and in the first half of this year, we have done 3.9%, and these are the areas of.
Let me guide you. You should be responding to the question you were asked. I feel you have not responded to it. Respond to that question, please. The last question, your relationship with the DG, if I got it correct, with the governor, your relationship with the governor.
Madam Speaker, I'm not hearing you. Maybe if they can raise the power for your mic, I can hear you.
Your relationship with the governor, that was the last question.
Madam Speaker, is the same question I'm dealing with, that the relationship between me and my governor has been deteriorating day in, day out as we moved through the period we've served in the Kisii County. I hope I've answered.
Yes, you have. Senator Asige, Kegei, Crystal.
Madam Speaker, sorry.
And before we take Senator Asige's question, you have the phone now. Open the page which was downloaded and attached to the document. And the Sergeant at Arms will present it to the Secretariat desk, the clerk's desk, and Senator Cheradigei can have a look at it.
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
It is your point of order.
Madam Speaker, I remember last night I was almost the last person to leave this chamber. Today I've been here since morning.
So have
And
the other
questions,
senators.
let me ask my question, Madam Speaker, with all respect. And the people who are asking questions in the previous session, they are the same people asking questions. Just tell me why I'm here. Then if we can just have them to ask questions, then we can watch like others at home.
Senator Karungo Dhangwa, just on a point of information, you have been in the House, and that is a legitimate expectation of the people who brought you to Senate, that you should be in Senate attending to proceedings. You have been attending the proceedings, and other senators have also been attending the proceedings of this impeachment. And I believe all senators have an equal right to seek clarifications and seek questions. So we have used the board that has been showing us the names of the prioritization. So I would urge you, when you want to clarify, you always press your button early, so that, because we use it as a guide on the speaker's side. But having said that, we will bring up more senators who have not had a chance to ask the questions, but all are equally entitled. Senator Asige,
Yes.
as the phone is making its way to the Secretariat desk.
Thank you, Speaker. If that comment by Senator Thangwa was directed at me, I have to assure him that yesterday I only spoke one time. So I'm not one of the ones who have spoken a lot yesterday. Speaker, I want to speak on behalf of the struggling politicians, because I feel like I am one, whereby if I were to be missing 100,000 shillings in my M-Pesa, I would definitely notice immediately. And that's where my particular question will focus. And I wanted to just engage the DG, if you would allow me. Mr. DG, could you kindly just clarify how you make M-Pesa transaction? Is it through the M-Pesa app? It's through the M-Pesa app?
Yes.
Oh, it is, okay.
It is, Madam Speaker.
Okay, great. So you are somewhat tech savvy, then that has been confirmed. I also want to just confirm the process through which you transact on M-Pesa, and maybe you'll agree or disagree at the end. Number one, Speaker, I'm aware that when you use the M-Pesa app, you have to choose the person that you're sending money to, the recipient. And the next stage is to put in the amount that you want to send. And the next stage is to put in your PIN. And then there is a pop-up that comes which asks you to confirm that those details that you have input are correct before you either cancel or accept that transaction, whereby you would have seen the recipient's name pop up on that, inaitwa hakikisho in Swahili. And then once you have, if you said accept, if you confirm that those are the right details, Speaker, you press accept, and then, as another senator has said, you'll receive a transaction confirmation with the exact same details, so that you can confirm that you have sent the correct amount to the correct person at said time. Now, with all of those different confirmation opportunities, I wanted to really clarify, because he uses the M-Pesa app and you have to be tech savvy to use it. How did you not see those confirmation pop-ups that came through the M-Pesa app for you to confirm whether you're sending the money to the right person? Thank you.
Madam Speaker, I've already heard that, I'm sorry, that I missed those pop-ups and sent money knowing that I've sent the money to the right person. I missed those ones you have named. I do not know how you send it. Mine is getting the name and the number, and then I send. So I missed that, Madam Speaker.
Okay. Senator Joyce Korir.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. My question still hangs on the M-Pesa transfers that the witness sent 100,000 to Lucy Waito, which was sent on 28, and it was reversed on 30th. That is barely 2 days later, Madam Speaker. I wanted to know whether there was an agreement between the Deputy Governor and Lucy Waito. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, there was no agreement between myself and Lucy Waito on anything unless clarified. That is the way I got the question. There was no agreement. The position is send the money back, and she had told me to reverse. That is the position at which we left it.
Okay. Senator Mwinyi Haji Mohamed Faki.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mine is also on the same M-Pesa transaction. When you send the money on the, is it 28th? 28th
yes,
of
28th.
May, did you confirm that the money had gone?
Yes, the money went.
So, but you didn't confirm to whom it went. Is that what you're telling us?
I didn't read that name and get to know that it is where I was sending the money to. That is what I'm saying, yes.
Yes. So you confirmed that the money was sent to Lucy. Was it Lucy or?
Lucy.
That same evening?
That evening, yes, the money went to Lucy.
That same evening?
Yes.
But it took her prompting for you to realize that it went to a wrong person.
Yeah, I slept without noticing that the money had gone to the wrong person. So I woke up the next day, and this is when I came to this understanding.
But it is your evidence that on the evening you sent the money, you confirmed that it went to Lucy?
No. It was erroneously sent to Lucy. That's what I'm saying.
That's all.
Senator Mbogwa Mugai George.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mr. Deputy Governor, I'm following up on the charges of abuse of office, and I want to refer you to your affidavit, paragraph 59, A and B. You seem to suggest that your home is being used for official purposes without your permission.
Sorry?
You seem to suggest that your home is being used for official government offices without your permission. Is that true on point A, paragraph 59 of your affidavit?
Madam Speaker, can we go ahead with the question?
So you seem to suggest that your home is being used for official government business without your permission because you are saying your input was not sought for. Is that true?
Madam Speaker, this is not referring to myself. I'm saying it's not my home that is used.
Okay.
My
Now
home
on
has
B,
not been used by anyone for visual functions.
okay, on B, you suggest that the governor's office is being used for official government business. Is there any government money which goes into the use of this office? Is there any money which is used for the government business which is being carried on in that office? Thank you.
Madam Speaker, that I will not be able to confirm if government money is being used. The only response here is that government business is being transacted in the governor's residence.
Senator Onyonka Richard.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Dr. Munda, I have two follow-up questions. The question that you've answered about government business taking place, could you explain what that statement means? In other words, are you trying to say that each and every government transaction since the governor took over in Kisii County has actually been conducted, including cabinet positions, including cabinet meetings, and you as the DG were holding cabinet meetings in the governor's house? And if you can, I would hope you to explain what the government says in terms of where the governor or the president, which place should they operate from. The second question I want to bring you, Dr. Munda, Madam Asigi raised a very interesting question, but I thought, and I'm not on a fishing expedition, I thought you got confused. Do you know the difference between an M-Pesa app and M-Pesa kawaida?
Madam Speaker, I may be lost between the two.
Yeah, can you explain if you can? Lastly, this money that you sent erroneously, have you ever sent any other erroneous money to anybody at any one time? And did you get a reversal, and how do you claim that money back? Thank you.
Madam Speaker, with your permission, I may start with the M-Pesa. I'm lost between the M-Pesa app and the M-Pesa by the Senator Onyonga, what you call M-Pesa kawaida. Madam Speaker, I may be on the kawaida M-Pesa because I have not heard the difference between the two. I will have to refer when I leave this Senate. And so, on the matter of reversal, what did you ask?
I asked whether you have ever sent any other money other than this money to anybody else before this exercise started or even now.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I've done. M-Pesa is a continuous process by everyone of this era. And so I've sent and I've lost. Sometimes I've lost the money. And sometimes when I'm able to call and get the money sent back, I have succeeded to get the money back. This happens all the time. And I think my considered opinion is that it is for that reason that the Safaricom decided to have the two reversal and even sending back. Madam Speaker, on the first question, the Honorable Senator has asked me to explain a little. All I know, once sworn into government, we are expected to transact government business in designated areas, gazetted areas, such that the Senate will conduct business in the designated Senate, as an example, Madam Speaker, and this assembly. But in my case and the Kisii, once we came into government after being sworn in, and this was in the presence of my Super Senator Richard Onyonga, we did the swearing in.
Just to guide you, we do not have any super senator.
Okay,
They are all senators.
Madam Speaker, I withdraw that and replace it with Senator Onyonga.
Honorable Senator is the official title. Can you continue with the answer?
Yes, Madam Speaker, once we were sworn in, the previous governor's office by the former governor was of course available, but we did not occupy that space, including my space as a deputy governor, on grounds that my governor will want to do renovations to those offices before we occupy them. And therefore, we had to start operating from the holding rooms of the Kisii Stadium. And we've remained in those holding rooms in the stadium until today as I speak here. Madam Speaker, if I were to be impeached by this motion, I wouldn't have stepped into the official gazetted governor's offices in Kisii as at now. And after a short while, Madam Speaker, at the stadium, my governor, His Excellency Mbarati, decided to start conducting government meetings in his own residence in Motonto village. And this has remained the position of the Kisii County government over many years without imputing any wrong motive, Madam Speaker. We have found ourselves in a situation where even the Judicial Service Commission visited Kisii, and we were required to go to the rural home where we went and we held that meeting there, and it was painful for me having the Judicial Service Commission conducting an official meeting in a private residency. Madam Speaker, this is the scenario in brief in Kisii. The CECs will find their way to that home every day. The chief officers the same, and the directors the same. Madam Speaker, at some point as I raised this matter, I started getting excluded from attending those meetings, and without getting, and totally not getting information that there is any meeting going on anywhere where a deputy governor can also attend. That is the scenario in Kisii. I want to stop there, hoping I've answered the Honorable Senator's question, inviting this Senate to visit Kisii and see by yourselves, Madam Speaker, that that's the scenario we are in Kisii County.
Thank you. Senator Karungo, will be the final one, then we'll take a direction on the remaining. We have about 17, and we'll have to take a direction on how we go about it. Meantime, Senator Karungo, very quickly. And
thank you. Mine are very brief, Madam Speaker. And I would start by asking the Deputy Governor, Mr. Deputy Governor, why would your brother be so bitter with you that he would want you to lose your seat and go live with him at your father's house, at your father's farm? The second question, yesterday I asked Dennis a question, and I asked him if he got a job after giving the 800,000 bribe, would he tell anybody, would he go to the police? And his answer was no, I wouldn't have gone to any police. I would just be enjoying my job. Now, in that line of thinking, would I say Lucy Waheto, would I be right to say Lucy Waheto also came here because probably you did not give him all the money that he wanted? Probably you did not give her all the money that she wanted. Out of the 800, maybe she wanted 400. You gave her 100,000. Then there were 2 days of, are you sending more? Are you sending more? And then if you're not sending more, I'm going to refund the money. And that is exactly what happened. Would I be right to say so?
Madam Speaker, I will start with that last question to say no, the Honorable Senator will not be right to say so because we've not had a discussion with Lucy Waheto beyond the erroneous transaction of money. The other one is about my brother, and I've said it's a sad scenario that the entire happening is simply intended to drag my name through the mud. That's all I would want to say, Madam Speaker, that my brother is in that pain of not supporting me in the past in the elections, but I've continued to win. And after the elections, my brother has not been happy, and he believes the campaigns continue beyond the time we were elected. And so he'll wish that I'm impeached for him to feel better, because I would have lost the seat I won against his wishes, that I don't. You refer to the Kisii elections, you will see many clips showing how my brother campaigned hard against me, but then I flawed them, and those who are flawed will always be looking for grounds to continue fighting. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Senators, we have now finished the slots that we had allocated, but I have about 17 requests for senators who need clarifications. We have to take a direction because we have 5 witnesses who still have to give evidence, be cross-examined, be re-examined. So what is your point of order? Before you do the points of order, I want us to take a direction as a House, whether we add 3 slots, both majority and minority leaders are here. Yes. Senator Methu, and then Senator Osotsi. Senator Osotsi, meantime, raise your point of order. Resume your seat. I invited you to use the dispatch box. You move first.
Madam Speaker, I think you directed that Mr. Monda's phone be checked to confirm the phone list attached on the documents. I think we need to dispense with that because the document raised a lot of concerns from the members and from the council as to its authenticity. And also, understanding the Computer Misuse and Cybercrime Act, particularly Section 23, that talks about false publication of computer information. So I think that would be a very crucial aspect to deal with before we proceed.
See, I give the direction. I had directed that the phone on the page which has been downloaded and attached, the documentation, be presented to the clerk. And Senator Cherargei, who had raised that issue, was to be there to see that page. He's not in the house, so I'm holding it. It will still be done. What is your point of order, Senator Medal? So I've given direction, it will still be checked.
Honorable Speaker, since you had already given direction that you shall take 4 from each side, I think it is fair that we stick to that direction that you had given. But I would be of the proposal, Honorable Speaker, because we have, I think, 5 more witnesses, that for the rest of us who are on that dashboard, because I know I'm one of them, that you give us priority in terms of getting clarification from the other witnesses that will be coming, so that then we can be able to avoid the question that had been raised by Senator Karongo Lango of the same people speaking over and over, that when we get the next witness, then we can get another 8, then we remain with a few more others, so that everybody can be able to speak to this matter.
Senator Hamida, on a point of order only, then I give a direction. We take